They'll do it that way. Hey, Todd. Yeah, no, don't touch that, mate. It'll burn. It'll burn. Don't touch it. He just never listens to me, that guy.
He never listens.
Never listens. Hey, guys. Welcome to Aussie Craft Distillers Shooting the Shit. That was right, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was right.
It's been a long day. All right. So we're here with Jason from 9 Circles. What's that? Stop that. 9 Circles Distillery. Jason, mate, how are you? And welcome.
I'm awesome. I'm excited to chat some distilling.
All right, here we go. Here we go. It's a roller coaster ride. So you strap yourself in. We're about to go clack, 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 up. And then from there, we don't know where. Do we?
Down.
Down. Down. We go down. All right.
Well, why don't we start with what's in your glass? What are you drinking?
I'm going to have a crack at some of, or actually might be what might be the last crack at some of my Heartwood, the Long Kiss Goodnight.
Ooh,
Heartwood's probably one of my favourites. Obviously not a distillery, a blender from down in Tasmania.
A proud one too.
Around. He was buying up barrels of Australian whiskey back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So he's got some juice that even distillers that are still making it don't have. This one's an ex-Nance, which I know is a bit of a dirty word in the industry because of the shenanigans that went on down there with the with selling barrels that weren't necessarily filled.
I'm just screaming into a bucket of water over here so you can't hear it, okay?
Luckily, I didn't get burned on that one. But this
all
one's
those all those in the room that didn't get burnt, put their hands up. Fuck. Carry on.
So this is just like I like it. Cask strength, Oloroso, sweet finish, just hot, punchy, straight to the point. And I'm into it.
Yeah.
What about you, Lance?
Hot. So what did you say? Hot, punchy, and to the point. That's Tim Duckett.
He's the man. He's the magician, the mad scientist, I think he calls himself.
I don't know. I think that's Peter Bignell myself. That's
I mean, he's definitely mad.
He's mad. There's two mad Tassies. Mad professor. One's a mad professor, one's a mad scientist. Actually, you're right. Yeah.
Do you think it's something in the water in Tassie? Sends him a little bit loopy?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah. I've given a lot of thought to it. But I don't talk to the Tassies about it.
I mean, look, the New South Wales water is pretty weird as well, especially around the Blue Mountains. But
it's not blue. Anyway, what do you got in your glass? So you got that.
Yeah, it's got the Heartwood.
You got that. What have we got in our glass?
What have we got?
Whoa.
Okay, so at the light.
Oh, fuck. I always look up.
I know you'd look up there, but that's what I'm saying, at the light.
So I got to stare into the light. Follow the light. All right. This. Oh, now I can see. Thank you. You should have done that earlier.
I should have.
Right. Now this is incredibly special. I got to tell you the story. This is Karoo rum, and it's a Grand Marnier cask, and it's a special one-off release for the Rum Tribe. Round of applause for the Rum Tribe. Round of applause to Brad Wright for sending us that. But a little backstory. I got a belated birthday present from Karoo, and in the box was a lollipop with a smiley face and one of these. So I rang up Nick and Ellie, and I went, guys, thank you so much. The lollipop is amazing. It's just, I don't know what to say. I'm so happy. Don't know what the other shit is in the box. But seriously, this thing is an absolute stunner. Grand Marnier cask. When I opened my bottle, I poured it, and I kid you not, for half an hour, I was just going like this and just nosing it. I was just getting all those spices and fruits coming off. So it's on the Single Malt Whiskey Club website. Highly recommend, if you like your rums, get a bottle of this while you can. So
I'll put the URLs up on the screen, rumtribe.com.au.
Oh, you already nicked it.
Well, I did have a sneaky little taster because we received it 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God, smell that. Smell that.
Oh,
Jesus.
Get into it.
And I I couldn't help myself but have a sneaky little taster of it. And the thing for me is I'm not a rum person. Rum's not my flavor profile at all. I generally don't like it. But
No.
that's lovely.
And look at the label. Look at the design.
There are some fantastic rums out there, Luke.
I know. I'm getting. Well, that's the thing. My experience with rum has been Bundy, or it's been a Kraken or a something like that. That's not an Australian rum, and I'm just getting into Australian rums properly now.
Well, today there was.
Who changes your opinion?
Yeah, indeed.
Today, cheers. Today there was a big announcement, and I'm not fully up to speed, but I know Bankston Solander Rum picked up a big world gong for I think best pot column still rum.
Okay.
And Esther Spirits, they picked up big today.
Oh,
and also Aisling. Aisling, yeah.
Aisling as well.
Yeah. So rum is, as Scotty Simmons says, it's the rum naissance. It's the rum naissance. So things are moving on that front. Anyway, this is not why we're here to talk about rum.
We're here to talk about nine circles.
So
and Aussie distillers. We're not here to take over. We're here to take over.
Well, I mean, certainly we are. We're punching well above our weight on the world stage, which is brilliant. And I mean, we can't help but brag about that a little bit, can we? Whenever it comes up, whenever we win another award, it's like, yeah, they're Australian. Of course they did.
Yeah, and it's I had this conversation with someone today in the industry, and he was saying he's from the UK and he's in Australia, and he was saying he's so surprised there's not that much rum in Queensland, and apart from the big guys and that, right? And I said, mate, things are changing rapidly, but what's been holding Queensland back is regulation around distilleries in Queensland. That's now, I believe, has improved dramatically. Sorry, it's flies. It's Todd. He farted. Todd, you farted. Take it out of the room, will you? Jesus. He's gonna hate us.
If he's watching, he'll listen back.
Anyway, so rum in Queensland has just gone oof. Now, number of distilleries that are popping up in different styles, but not just Queensland, right across Australia.
Yep, down in Victoria, we've got Jimmy Rum.
James.
Popping up everywhere. It's. I mean, some of them are just unaged cane spirits, the agricoles. Some of them using cane juice instead of molasses.
Yeah,
and that's one of the great things about the Australian distilling industry is we don't have those really restrictive labelling laws. I think rum's a bit of an outlier because to call it rum in Australia, you have to have it in a barrel 2 years, but you don't have to do that internationally.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the one. But all the rest, particularly like we make a lot of gin, it gives us the freedom to be able to innovate as long as we're not misleading the consumer.
Yep.
I mean, I think you look at Four Pillars really started it with their Shiraz gin internationally. That's not a gin, that's a liqueur. But we get away.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah. We get away with it in Australia. We can do different things, and that's why you're seeing such like innovative products out there in the market.
100%. Well, let's talk about you. Let's talk about you from the start. So where did your inspiration come from? And what is your journey? When did it start?
Probably started for me, I don't want to be out there confessing, but probably before I turned 18, many, many years ago. I started collecting whiskey. So kind of 16, 17, started collecting whiskey. My father was a Jack Daniels drinker. My paternal grandfather was a Johnny Walker man, and started drinking whiskey and started collecting whiskey. And I've been collecting whiskey I just turned 45, so, 27-something years now. Here's a bunch of it behind me on the shelf.
That's a lovely collection.
Yeah, it goes all right. It's probably 150 odd now. It's pretty to look at. The drinking ones are in the cupboard below. So it really started out with that. And then, 2000, I've been collecting since the 90s. And then in 2014, Sullivan's Cove won World Whiskey of the Year. And that, for me, like really opened my eyes to Australian distilling. I was clueless before that. So I started looking around, and they were kind of popping up everywhere at the time. I mean, Four Pillars was come along in 2014. Starwood was in the midst of doing its thing down here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
I think they were still out at Essendon at that stage, hadn't moved to Port Melbourne. Nant, who we were just talking about before, we're not far away from opening up a bar.
Sorry.
In the city in Melbourne. They opened another one later on in Brisbane, and now I think they went on and opened one in Singapore or something like that, Kuala Lumpur. But opened my eyes. So I started touring, started going around. And then in 2017, I did a tour of Tasmania, my second one. And I went to a little one up in Launceston called Fanny Bay.
Yep.
So the fantastic Matt and his wife hosted me for a day.
Yeah.
And he's just a bloke in his shed. And I'm like, I can do this. So unfortunately, I still have my day job. I regulate foreign investment for the Federal Treasury.
Right.
Where I started. It goes all right. As it stays. So I started to think about doing it in 10 or 15 years. I thought, semi-retirement, mid-50s, a little bit like you, Crafty. Just
that's very generous.
Yes. Someone said to me, I thought you were a burnt out 53-year-old. I just turned 60.
Day over 70.
Yeah, shut up.
So I started researching, started planning, and then in 2020, I was speaking to my favorite people on the planet, my best friends, Ben and Kat, about what I was thinking about. Actually, between lockdowns, because Melbourne was in big lockdowns down here, but they were kind of somehow getting away with it, like you were in New South Wales. But I happened to be up there, and we were chatting about it, and then the next day we walked into one of those Aussie disposal stores, and they were selling a still. Like really? Almost like divine. It was just there. They could only sell it in two parts because they couldn't sell an over 5 litre still off the shelf. I think it was a Grainfather or a T500 or whatever.
Yeah.
50 litre. They'd sell you like a the boiler in one transaction,
and you get the
the condenser lid in another transaction.
Great bit of kit that.
Absolutely, it's a good start.
Fantastic bit of kit.
Great for distilling water.
Yes.
Unbelievable quality water. Unbelievable.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I'm sure that's what we're all doing. We're all just testing out. The ATO gave us the go-ahead.
Yeah.
And look, obviously it snowballed from there. I'm really kind of privileged to be able to work with Ben and Kat. We've been friends since the 90s, since I was drinking whiskey with them way back when. And it's, I think I want to say July. We were going to piece away at it. So we signed up with the Institute, the Distillers Institute down in Tassie. We're one of the first students through that.
Yeah.
Ben went away and did his general certificate through the Institute of Brewing and Distilling internationally out of Edinburgh on wine.
Yeah.
Kat was running her own business. Like she was making like craft dolls and craft jewelry. So she understands how to run a small business. She'd been doing some bookkeeping and things on the side, so she understood how to run the books. And I want to say, it's not that we weren't too serious, but we hadn't really kind of made the leap. And then in July 2021, Ben gave me a call and said, "No, it's time. Let's really bite this off and just keep chewing." And him and Kat have just turned it from an idea that was in my head into the amazing reality that it is right now. So 2 weeks ago, going on 3 weeks ago, we opened a cellar door of like 500 square metre space down in Pambula in New South Wales.
Wow.
It's enormous. It will be our production.
Yeah,
it's huge.
So just for reference, for where that is.
So where's Pambula? Oh, thank you. There it is.
The big red button there.
It is big, isn't it? Look at it. Jesus.
That's it. I mean, that's
the building.
That's every 500 square. So you're a fair distance from Melbourne, and you're even distance between Melbourne and Sydney there.
Absolutely. If you started driving and at the same time, you'd probably converge around Pambula, Merimbula. So about 7 hours, give or take.
Mm. And so where are you based?
I'm down in Melbourne, but just
Yep.
about to buy some property up there and start spending some more time because
Yeah,
the
right.
7-hour drive there and back every couple of weeks it's getting a bit old.
Absolutely. Now, I met you at the Easter show.
Yeah.
You were there.
Just recently.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
So Jace was there manning a stall on his own.
You poor bastard.
I didn't notice anybody else there, but I was working as well. But it looked like you were on your own for almost the entire time.
No, I had helpers. They were just there through the heart of the day. So it was me opening, me closing for the second week, and Kat did the first week. That was a tough one, that market. I really love getting in front of people, and we do as a team. We love to get out in front of people, engage with them, talk about our products, get feedback, and just talk about the industry. It's such a fucking positive industry to be involved in.
Oh, yeah.
Just like people like come with smiles when they see you. But that show was a bit of a challenge because people don't really go to an Easter show looking to buy a bottle of booze. Some do because they see it.
Parents do, I'm sure.
Well, parents need it.
Some definitely. I had to have a few like ladies talk to me and say, "Oh, tell the kids to quieten down. Mummy's getting her show bag now." There was a little bit of that. But I think most people kind of treated it more like we were part of the entertainment.
Yeah.
Whereas every other market we do a lot of work up in Canberra. Like we love the Canberra market.
Yeah.
People are engaged. People care. They want to talk back and forth. But that one we just did at Easter was a bit more challenging.
So do you do any other markets that you can compare against to the Easter show? Because I wanted to touch on the Easter show as a specific topic with you because it is such a challenge. I was there working in the Unicorn Spirits stand with Ben Osborne, selling shiny, shimmery vodka, which would be
glossy spirit.
Glossy, yes, very glossy spirit, very bright colors, very sticky. And I found that working there a challenge. Amazing fun, but a challenge. And I'm there just working. I'm not an actual stall holder who has outlaid the exorbitant fee to have a stand there. How did you find that experience of going to the show? And is it something you would do again, do you think? Tom?
I think it is something we probably would do again. We'd make some changes.
Yep.
Location obviously is hugely important. You have to have an activated space. If you're staring at a wall and you're not getting the foot traffic you need, then you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
So
now you had a nice corner booth there. How did you find that corner?
It was a little bit tough. Most people walked in past us into the middle of the thick of it and didn't really circle back around. But the changes we'd make, we'd look at expanding our range to look at to tailor to that kind of market. But I think people are looking for a sweeter product. They're looking for bottled cocktails that kind of take the guesswork out of things. And they're not products we're really engaged in. Our passion and kind of if you think about our brand values, if you look at our branding, I think we're accessible people. Thank you, popping up the bottle. And I think, we're a regional distillery, right? So we're authentic, we're transparent, but at the same time, like we try to make serious, sophisticated products. That one that you've put there has got our bronze award from the Australian Gin Awards in 2023, I think, or 2022.
And it's a cracking gin.
I adore that gin, but of course, I designed it, so I should like it. Really, when I was designing that, I was really thinking about making something that was balanced, complex. So I picked the 5 main parts of your flavor palette, and then I picked 3 botanicals in each one of those. So there's 15 botanicals to give it depth and complexity. Then we spent, back and forth between Ben and I, spent a couple of months trying to kind of really dial it in and get it in balance. Because there's always something that's dominating and something that's hiding.
Yeah.
So you calibrate that, and then you move on to the next run, and you do it all over again until you're happy.
And did you find that people would, when you're telling that story and explaining how you've put it all together in that show environment where it really is someone comes up, you've got to grab their attention first of all to get them to stop in to your booth, and then you've got to convince them to. I would always say go on a journey with you, and go work through the catalog, and then hopefully guilt them into buying something at the end of it.
I still never quite like that, but I understand you want
liquid on lips.
Yeah,
liquid on lips.
I understand you're wanting to close. The thing that I found troubling about the Easter market as opposed to normal markets is I give out a lot of energy at those things because I really enjoy and I'm passionate about what I do. Yeah. And at the Easter market, I wasn't getting it back in a lot of cases. There were people who just wanted to come up and get an education and then move on.
Or just get a sample and move on.
Yeah, that's part of it, but that's part of the course in our game. People are going to do that. That's fine. But at other markets, it's reciprocal. It's a back and forth. You know, you're talking about different cocktails that you like or different spirits you had. Like, I'm a big fan of the industry. I love, like, the Three Cuts was one of the first gins that I really loved. They use 3 different types of heirloom roses because they're near the biggest rose commercial grower in Australia. I love the Maritime gin from down at Bass and Flinders because it's so just soft and beautiful. I love the Rare Dry from Four Pillars. I love the innovation with the oyster shell and the Geraldton wax that Never does. Like,
that oyster shell one is quite special.
I want to talk to people about it. I want to get into it. I want to hear from them what they like so I can try it. The Easter show, people just, it was blank. Like, people didn't have that passion, and so it wasn't coming back. So because I wasn't getting the energy back, it was a little bit exhausting.
Yeah, you would do it again.
Absolutely, I'll do it again.
You need the energy because it feeds you, and then you throw it back at them, and then they throw it back at you. And if you're getting that dynamic going, and then other people start doing it, you, all of a sudden everyone's energized, and it just goes on.
That I could do all day. That I could do all over.
Mate, my wife says, and Todd, he's gone again, says less chat, more tap.
That's a bit transactional, isn't it?
Yeah, it's I sometimes talk too much at the cellar door in the market.
I think there is a bit of an answer. But particularly, I found, just maybe finishing off on this one, Todd, but sorry, Luke, one of the things at the Easter market was, particularly on Easter, there was so many people, like it was just wall to wall, that you did have to wrap people up, whereas I really haven't done that very much before. But you did have to ask a closing question of, well, can I help you with a bottle? And if they that really puts them on the spot to say yes or no. And if they say no, that's fine. Move on to the next guy who's been waiting there for 5 or 10 minutes. You did have to kind of move them along, which I really hadn't done that before.
How many bottles would you like? That was my closer.
Yeah, it's something. Maybe that's. I like the presumptive close. It's handy.
Yeah, so my latest line is so I've got a new vodka, which is wheat, but also honey spirit, distilled honey, right? So it's really interesting because it's got quite a creamy mouthfeel, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so people come up and I go, "Do you like vodka?" And they go, "I don't like vodka." And I go, "I don't like vodka either." And that sort of takes them back, and I go, "And I make it, right?" And then it stops them again, and then I go, "But I make the one that I like." And then I tell them the story about the honey and the wheat, and it's quite amazing how many vodkas I can sell by doing that, because you're just saying, "I don't like it either." You know, it's funny. I love doing that.
It becomes it becomes a very convincing story, doesn't it? When you can say, "Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah,
that's not a thing that I like, but I've made this one that I like, and I reckon you'll probably like it too."
Well, people try it on the basis of what I say.
On that, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's and I have to say, if someone says, "Oh, look, I'm not going to buy, I don't want to try it," and I go, "Mate, I have no problem if you want to try it. Please try it, because you may tell a friend who likes it and he might want to try it." And they go, "Oh yeah, okay." And then they try it. And then sometimes it's like, "Oh yeah, we'll get a bottle." Whereas if they say, "I don't want to try it," and you go, "Oh, fair enough," and let them go, you potentially miss out.
Yeah.
So give them a get out clause. It's like the old Marty Pye from Riverbourne, his classic. 9 o'clock in the morning, you're trying to flog your whiskey.
That's tough.
And you go, would you like to try whiskey? And no. It's a breakfast whiskey. Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's accepted. It's like you throw the word breakfast in front. It's like, oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. No worries.
I've sold a few over the bar now because we've opened the cellar door as like breakfast martinis.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's a coffee martini.
Would you like
an
a cheese
espresso martini? So I mean, it's of course. Have you had your coffee yet this morning?
Yeah, have you had your coffee? Would you like your cheese toasty with your coffee martini?
So, in talking about and wrapping up the show, you said when you do it again, you would expand your range.
That's right. Yeah.
How would you? So, at the moment, looking at your website that I will flick back up on the screen, ninecircles.com.au. We've got 3 gins on your signature, the pink, and the Australian dry.
That's our core range.
Your core range. And then what else have we got available from there?
Or coming in the future.
So currently from our cellar door and locally whenever we do markets, we also sell a collaboration gin that we've done with a cocktail bar down in Merimbula called Dulce's.
Mm-hmm.
There's also one that people recognised in Sydney, but no relation is my understanding. That one's a kind of a classic style gin with lots of lime, coriander, cardamom, really easy drinking. We obviously do gift packs. We do a vodka. Talking about vodka, Crafty, ours has some honey notes to it as well, but we don't put any mead with it.
Right.
We distill it in-house from wheat, but we only double distill instead of triple.
Yeah.
We get the wheat from far New South Wales, and it's got these beautiful kind of caramel honey type notes. So we just double distill, double filter through activated charcoal, and take a pretty narrow cut off the still, so it's nice and smooth. So we're trying to do something a little bit different in the vodka space as well, because you can't compete with the Belvederes and the Grey Gooses, partially because they're enormous, like economies of scale, huge capacity operations, and partially because the excise system in Australia is weighted in favour of internationals and not Australians.
Mm.
Yeah, we know all about that. So what is the 9 circles?
So it comes from the 9 circles of heaven and hell.
Right.
So the 15th century Italian philosopher talked about.
Yeah, I was going to say philosophy. Yeah.
Yeah, the descent to hell. We picked it up because our distiller Ben, his favourite painting is by Botticelli, and it depicts that descent down into purgatory. And there was something about the balance of that we just loved and really stuck with us.
Sort of sums up the journey of a distillery, doesn't it? It's into the bowels of hell. It's all one way, isn't it?
You have your days. So that's what it came from.
Yeah, okay, it's cool.
These photographers, they love to put your bottle in water, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Nothing better than a splash of water.
Absolutely.
Throwing your bottles around.
Yeah.
So the vodka and the 3 gins, but your passion. The 4 gins. Your passion is obviously whiskey, though.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that it's only whiskey. I do love gin. It's probably the most used in my bar at home.
Right.
And there's so many cocktails. I think it's the most versatile spirit that you can put in cocktails. Like there's 1,000. In fact, I've got a list of 100 that I'd like to do over the next couple of years in our cellar door. But yeah, talking about whiskey, yes, whiskey is coming. So we've got about 2,500 litres on wood.
Nice.
And a number of different varieties. So we've got some single malts that are quite honey, caramel type, ex-bourbon barrels. We've got some ryes down because we're huge fans of rye. So we love Backwoods, we love the Gospel, we love some of the ryes that Archie Rose puts out.
Yeah.
Huge fans. One of my favourite bourbons is a Wild Turkey 101, which is a high rye content. Just love the spice of it. So we've got a bunch of that down. We've got some high corn mash bills down as well that we can't call a bourbon. It is a bourbon.
Malted corn or unmalted corn?
Flakes, yeah.
Yeah.
And And we've got a range of barrels. You know, we've got some Olorosos, we've got some ex-cognacs. Excuse me. We've got some ex-rye barrels, we've got some ex-bourbon, we've got a range. So Ben and I debate this all the time, actually, what our maturation program should look like, whether we should aim for a distillery style and do something that's really consistent that people can expect from us, that they can pick up one of and know what they're going to get, or whether we continue to do like single releases. And unfortunately, I think, you know, for smaller distilleries, I think single releases is probably the only way you can really go, unless you've got like a ton of capital to get you started, where you can run a Solera system or something like that to get the kind of consistency.
I mean, there are exceptions to that rule. King Lake would be a good example.
Yeah, straight off the
bat, having a core range. We're lucky there was nothing in that.
There's water.
Of having a core range that they've stuck with, and then only having occasional special releases. So that's the Carlington Mill Symmetry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
Which I haven't tried before. I've been saving. I jumped onto Horny Pony.
So this is John Abraham.
Yes.
Yeah, John Abraham. Yeah, we had John on Carlington Mill. We had him on a while back with Bill Lark, didn't we?
I missed that one.
It was fun. It was feisty as fuck. It was good.
What a one to miss, like.
Hey?
I know.
John has got very strong views about whiskey making.
Yeah.
And Bill was like, there's room for everyone. It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
I'm just trying to go back and find where that. Well, there we go. That was episode 24 back in 2022.
Jesus, that's a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, wow. I didn't
I feel like I'm in the middle of that debate. You know, I absolutely agree with Bill that, you know, the rising tide lifts all boats, and we should all work together to help each other. But at the same time, you do wonder if the current kind of rate of growth in the industry is sustainable.
Yeah.
Like with up to 700 now and rising every day.
Yeah.
At what point do you reach that kind of, you exceed that equilibrium, and, you know, you need to have a consolidation like the brewing industry's seen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're starting to see it now. I mean, per capita, we got more distilleries in Australia than America, and we got 3 times the amount of Scotland. Absolutely, there's the growth.
And what percentage of Australian spirits do Australian people drink?
So again,
Like,
Yeah. What?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's about
out of every 100 bottles sold,
5% or whatever.
4 or 5 bottles are Australian. So there's some room for growth. There's headroom for us, but we've got to be able to, at the end of the day, we've got to be able to compete on price.
Yeah,
Which is, certainly that is the biggest challenge. I mean, looking at the American distilleries, they have volume.
Yeah.
What America lacks in number of distilleries, they more than make up for in the volume of spirit distilled and distributed around the world. Yes, we've got a lot of small players, but we're a drop in the ocean.
No, we don't have the volume. We don't have the
volume wise. We're barely scratching the surface.
I mean, you got the likes of, you know, Starward, Great Southern Distilling Co., Lark, Archie Rose. They're trying to push what's the name down in Riverina? Oh Jesus, brain fart. Winery background. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, sorry. My point, I'm getting distracted. My point is they're the runway, right, into export markets, right? They're laying the runways for the likes of us down the track. So when people try Australian product like Starwood in America and go, hey, that's good. Oh, I like that. What else is out there Australian? And that's where we can capitalize on it. So the big dogs running is good, right? But man, they need the volume. They need the volume. So,
they're the most awarded distillery in the world. It puts up a bit of a beacon and shows them what we're capable of.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit, going into the American market's a little bit like selling ice to Eskimos. Same like going into Scotland. And the problem with America is it's 50 different markets. They're all different. They all have different regulation. Some of it's state run. Some of it you have to run through third parties. Like it's a huge nut to crack, and I'm like really impressed that Starwood's been able to do it.
Yeah. Well, Dave spent a number of years over there trying to break through the American market. He said, but if I recall correctly, he mentioned at the conference last year about thought California was where they were going to break through, and they broke through in Chicago of all places.
Yeah, I remember him saying that. I was at his little seminar at the ADA.
Yeah. No, we had quite a good chat this year about things in America, and he said, you go into these shops and there's just walls and walls and walls of whiskey, and you're trying to punch through that, and it is incredibly challenging. And he reinforced the fact that, in America, it's not a single country. All states are all different. There's multi-tier levels you got to get through. So he said, if you're going to go to the States, just make sure you know where you're going. Don't try and do the whole thing, because you'll just get lost.
Yeah, great.
So where do you see your growth and expansion happening now that you've got your cellar door up and running? Where do you see your footprint heading to?
That's an amazing question. Well, national before global, I think. But I mean, if you're talking about, like, we've obviously been in a growth phase from the day we opened, in March 2022, and like amazing growth, particularly to get this cellar door open. It was a huge undertaking. Our Kat, my business partner, is a superwoman for like project managing that. Out of nothing, she created that space. I think it's a consolidation phase from here. I think it's we've opened just as the tourists have left. It's quite seasonal down in Merimbula ways. We're just coming into winter. So there are some people coming through that area. I mean, there's always some tourists. There's quite a big kind of mountain biking range that draws people in. People are still touring around there for the local food and produce. And obviously we're part of the fabric of that now, part of the oyster trail. We know that distilleries play a really key role in supporting regional tourism. And if we can help be part of the solution to that seasonality that affects the region, so that we can reduce the reliance on visitation and peak seasons, that's probably our next kind of goal.
Right. And how do you see that? How do you see that working? How would you do you have any ideas of how you would facilitate that that seasonality?
Make booze all year round. I think that's the secret. Make booze all year round.
Yeah,
we've got a big tick there. So, I mean, a lot of it's working in with Tourism New South Wales or Destination New South Wales.
Yeah.
So the map that you showed before, we're just above Eden, which is the big town almost on the border of Victoria. They've got a huge port, so all the cruise ships that come around from Sydney on their way around to Melbourne stop in Eden, and also over to Auckland, they tend to stop in Eden. So you've got this big cruise market coming in. They're looking for value-add activities. So we're going to support that industry because it's that port of call destination. There's an airport in Merimbula that's gone through a recent expansion that we're quite close to. There's the self-drive market from Canberra. I suppose, what do we see ourselves as? We're part of tourism is part of one of those engine industries, right? We're kind of really driving the reinvigoration of local economies after COVID, and for us down there, the bushfires. So for us, it's just about delivering memorable experiences. Doing things like distillery tours once we've got our operations up and running in the production space, doing gin blending events, gin tasting events, masterclasses, running things with the space. We can have live music in our space, although we're overlooking the beautiful wetlands in Pambula, so we wouldn't want to disturb that too much. So it would be quite like a chill kind of vibe, nothing outrageous. But running events, getting people in, doing interesting things, I'm
trying to bring up a closer map, and my technology is failing me now.
I believe it.
From memory, it's a beautiful part of the world, actually.
It really is.
I spend time. I got family down Bateman's Bay, around that area. and Surfside and further down. But I've been down there. It's a lovely part of the world. Is there any breweries around and wineries around in that area?
There are. There's one just on the other end of the wetland trail from us called Longstockings that a lot of people in that area know.
Yeah.
Then there's a couple of other around. There's one called Camel Rock, not too far up from us, further north.
Yeah.
Frogs Hollow, not too far out in the west. There's a couple dotted around.
And so do you see yourself doing collaborations?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
With beat you to it.
With the breweries?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the wineries. Do you have a relationship with the brewers and wineries in the region?
So the only real winery that I know of around the area is Breakfast Creek. We've got a good relationship with them, but we haven't looked at a collaboration just yet. The collaborations that we've looked at are more in the less in the bottle and more in the experience. So working in with Broadwater oysters to get fresh oysters on the table, working in with local kind of cafes to add to them, making rhubarb and gin tarts at Taste Cafe, things like that.
Yeah,
I'm really focused on. We don't have the privilege that places like Coro and Backwoods do with being that proximity to Rutherglen and all those beautiful red wine barrels and fortified barrels they've got in that region.
Yeah.
But absolutely, like we're huge on collaboration, working with local coffee roasters to make espresso martinis or coffee vodkas, those types of things. Everyone wants to see you represent your terroir, your place.
Oh, here he goes.
Absolutely.
Crafty is the original terrorist.
He said terroir. I didn't say terroir. I did not say terroir. He said it. You cannot hold me accountable for that.
All right, but now here we
Get
go.
on board, Luke. Come on.
Let's bring on the terroir. Hang on, Todd. No, this is the red one. Fuck, mate. Jeez, he's colourblind as well. Sorry.
Yeah, all right.
I'm amusing myself, if no one else.
Crafty is the original terroirist.
Well, I got to say it.
Go for it.
I got to say it. So,
blow your own horn.
Got to blow my own horn. Right. So, you talked about drinking in the early 2000s, right? And I started my journey with Brooklady, right?
Yeah.
And I have now come, 2001, I think, I've come full circle to where now Mark Rainier, the god of terroir from Brooklady and Waterford, is a friend. And him and I communicate quite regularly. And I've helped him out with his son, Rory Rainier, who came to Australia and was looking at getting into the industry. And today I had a beer with Rory, and we were just talking about the industry and what opportunities are in Australia and everything. And we talked about terroir in detail. And I said, mate, you've got to tell me. I've got to hear it. So what was the relationship like with Jim McEwen and your dad? Come on, give us the real oil. What's going on? But yeah, Mark calls me a whiskey terroirist, and I wear that as a badge of honor.
Don't they say never meet your heroes?
Yeah, I know. It's
He seems pretty happy though.
Full circle, mate. Full fucking circle. And I think to myself, I am a little wee distillery in buttfuck nowhere with a buttfuck little distillery. And here am I talking with one of the gods on the whiskey stage, and it just blows me away. And, having deep dive conversations about terroir.
Reminds me of the ADA, the Australian Distillers Association conference last year. Our distiller Ben saw Bill Lark in the crowd and went up to him, g'day Bill, can I have a photo please? Completely ignored his wife Lynn, who just 3 hours later was in the phone. Missed a trick on that one, mate.
Bill's never returned the phone call, has he? Because Lynn, every time she sees on the phone, you go, no, you're not talking to him.
Oops. He was just so caught up in the, you see the Godfather and you're like, what?
Oh, yeah. I totally get it. Yeah.
And Bill's just a lovely bloke.
Yeah. But it's like I said to Rory today, it's one thing to be passionate and have conviction and an opinion, but it's another thing to have that depth of knowledge underneath supporting that.
Yeah.
And that's what Rainier's got, right? It's just gobsmacking what that guy knows.
Well, definitely go back and listen to our Waterford chat, and we did
Did a live session.
We did
as
a
well.
live session as well, and we had Mark pop in for. We thought it was going to be just a quick hello from Ireland.
You're all doing very well.
Yeah.
Enjoy the Waterford whiskey.
Couldn't shut him up. Oh my lord. He would have gone for another couple of hours if we let him.
Yeah. We talked about that today too.
Fascinating. But yeah, we had to. We're off camera going. We got to move on. We still got more whiskeys to taste in this thing. We got to wrap it up. So, how do you see Tewa fitting into your distillery and your future plans?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whilst we're on the topic.
Sure. I mean, the obvious one for us is our dry gin. We call it our Australian dry. You don't have to put it up. Here's a bottle.
Yep.
Thank you. It'll take me a moment.
Just to give you a break, Luke.
Yep.
That one's an Australian, thoroughly Australian take on the London dry style. So heavy on the citrus, heavy on the spice, and mainly Australian spices. We use pepperberry like everybody does. A little bit of saltbush, some wattle seed.
And are there any particular botanicals from your region that you think you would be able to focus on?
Right around Pambula, Marimbula, there's not a lot that's particularly unique to us, no.
Yeah, right.
Just further up north of us into, you might know it, Crafty, Mystery Bay, they've got a lot of wattle seed up there to the point where it's almost a bit of a pest. They're wondering if it's too prevalent. They might need to do a bit of a cull to pare it back. But very easy to get some wattle seed from up there.
Yeah, right.
I think all of our products have something native Australian in it.
Yep. Do you make a point of trying to source predominantly Australian?
We do where we can. Yeah, and we haven't been able to.
The juniper's a problem.
We should.
Juniper's getting there.
It's getting online now. That's because it takes 9 years to fruit. There are some other distilleries around near us that are starting to use Australian, and we're optimistic that we can in the future.
Yeah. I was reading about that the other day, actually, and the people were saying that the analytical work that's been done on the Australian juniper, it looks like it's an absolute winner. So there's one distillery making gin. I think it's in Victoria up the top, but they're really going to town on it. They've partnered with a gin farmer, but juniper farmer, I should say. But yeah, more and more people are starting to talk about Australian juniper, which is great, because in the past everyone would go, no, you have to use juniper from Macedonia. It's the best juniper in the world. But now it's discussions like, well, we're using all these Australian botanicals. Why can't we use juniper? And looks like we're going to start using it soon. I'm looking forward to experimenting with it.
There is some around supply and demand, isn't it? You just can't get
of course.
It. And certainly, I think being such a key component of a gin, and when people are looking to buy Australian, being able to say that, yes, this is 100% Australian source botanicals, including the juniper, I think that will actually be a good selling point. Did you get it all?
I can't squeeze it. Well, you drank the whole bottle. This is a very special bottle.
It is a very special bottle. I think you have definitely tipped out the last dregs there. So I'll hold it up for those to see at home. This was a sample bottle of the Wildflower Port Tom's collaboration. So Wildflower Brewing, Topher there, and the crew at Port Tom's distilled some of the or a lot of the Wildflower beers that are just
wild fermented
beers, and they're cracking beer. They're not for everyone. I think they can be quite polarizing to beer drinkers that are used to a regular beer. They go in there and go, oh, it's a bit sour. But if you love something a little bit different and that real farmyard style, they're beautiful beers. And this one,
hoppy,
very floral, very hoppy.
Yeah.
You do still get that farmyard style.
But there's the pastry notes in it as well. I'm getting a lot of pastry. Yeah.
So, I mean,
sorry, we're having a little private.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, just another example of the innovation within the Australian industry because we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those sort of collaborations between well-known names in the brewing space, doing something a little bit special with the powerhouses that are Poor Tom's. Yeah, I think it's wonderful. These are the things that we really love to see and try and sample. And I'm a little sad that that's gone now.
This has got very much the notes that Cora had with their distilled beer, Al Savior.
Mm-hmm.
And
which I think I have on the shelf here somewhere.
It's not one you can drink all the time.
No, it's a sometimes whiskey. But also there was early on Starwood and Boat Rocker. They did.
Yeah, I never liked the Boat Rocker one for some reason.
Forget Me Not, and it was very, very floral. I've got 2 bottles of it.
Yeah, it was so hoppy forward, that one. Yeah.
Are there any in that amazing collection that you've got at the back there?
Yeah.
Are there any things that you that were unusual and that you'll probably never finish the bottle, but you're happy you've got it up there?
I got to be honest, there's not a single bottle that's behind me that's open.
You are just a showman. It's just a show. They're all cut out. They're fucking cardboard cutouts. Busted.
Every bottle here is open.
Yeah, these are all just like shelf ponies, really. Like the ones that get drunk are in the cupboard below, this one. I now collect Australian first releases, but I missed out on yours a few years ago, Crafty. Someone sent me a link to it when you were doing your first release, and I just was not, financial to grab one. But I've got about 30 Australian first release whiskies from various distilleries now.
Nice.
And I'm hoping I can keep building.
Is there there must be a favorite, a unicorn one that you've got up there that you're most proud of having secured?
That one's not in Australia. I think the middle one in there, the Booker's 10th anniversary. Obviously a bourbon. I picked that up at a local bottle shop for $70 when I was 18, and they're now selling online for 6,000 or 7,000.
Whoa!
Ridiculous amounts of money. It's silly.
It is incredible how the prices of Japanese whiskies obviously have just gone through the roof.
Yeah.
The prices of the likes of obviously Sullivan's Cove is a prime example of ones that, I had a bottle of Sullivan's Cove. I think I bought it for $150, and I drank it very, very quickly. And then all of a sudden they win and prices go through the roof. And I'm like, shit, I probably should have kept that. I might be able to afford stuff by now.
That's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you my Sutherland Cove story because it is a classic.
It's like fucking Bitcoin. I spent 22 Bitcoin buying a pizza back in the day.
So 10 years ago, I was in Tasmania. And 10 years ago, it was my 50th birthday, and I was with a group of friends. And I went to this little distillery called Sutherland's Cove. And back then, it was a factory block, single factory block, like something out of Marrickville in Sydney.
Yeah. Walked
in, the roller door was up, and there was no cellar door. It was a bit of board that had been bolted to the side of the wall, right? And there's cameras in there flashing, right? And there's reporters running around. And I'm watching this guy filling bottles, and he's in his own little world. He's totally oblivious to the chaos that's happening all around him. And all he's doing is just going on to the next bottle and just going, I don't know what's going on, but I'm doing my job. Anyway, at the time, the Sutherland's Cove marketing manager was a guy called Bertie Carson. And Bertie is South African. And he clocks us as we're coming in the door. And from memory, there's about 5, 6 of us, something like that. And anyway, he clocks us and he goes over and he picks up, say, 5 bottles right? And they're all French oak Sutherland's Cove, right? And he comes over to us, and on the bit of board that's attached to the wall, he just plops them one after another, and he goes in my best South African accent, trust me, boys, you want to buy a bottle of this. And we all did, and I think we paid, it was like $150 or $130 or something.
It was really affordable.
Yeah, it was back then.
Yeah.
But it was an incredible experience. It really was. And to see what Sutherland's Cove did with that single win is incredible. I mean, they've won a lot of awards since, but it was that moment in time. That's a piece of Australian whiskey history.
Yeah.
It really
is. I think about it. I think about approaching the market sometimes where you price your products from the bottom up, where you look at the costs, you add a margin, you wind up where you think you should be to be a financial viable business.
Yeah.
And then you look at it the other way, where you're pricing it from the top down. Where do you want to put yourself in the market? What's the value of the product?
Value-based pricing, yeah.
Essentially, they just entered what at the time was a vacuum. There was no $600 Australian whiskey.
No.
They didn't exist.
Yeah.
So now if you entered the market, if you tried to enter the market at that kind of price, what kind of credentials would you have to have behind you to be able to compete?
Yeah.
They've filled a vacuum that was there at the time, and good on them.
And look, they've backed it up multiple times. So they've not only did they earn it, but they've kept it. And maintained that level. I can't say what the spirit tastes like anymore because I can't afford to buy it.
No. Oh, I lied. I did at the ADA.
Oh,
yeah. I got to taste something. Yeah. It was pretty. Actually, now I'm trying to remember exactly because it's all a bit of a blur. But Patrick Maguire, his own brand. I got to try a little sneaky bit of Patrick Maguire's own brand. Very, very interesting. Very nice. Yeah. But everything else was a blur. It was a great conference, mate. It really was. In fact, in my humble opinion, it was probably the best ADA conference yet. And it was the technical content was very good. The trade shows was next level. The ATO Q&A session was awesome.
Distillery.
I owned that. Long story, won't go into it. But it was really good. The transparency, the gala dinner was great. The mood of the place was good. You know, there's a fair bit of pessimism around with the industry in the sense of, you know, we're in the high-end disposable income market, and we all know what's going on with the economy. But I wouldn't say it was a kumbaya conference, but there was a lot of optimism in the conference, which was good to see. Yeah.
Are you a member of the ADA?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's well worth it. Also, we had breakout sessions. So Tasmania, Victoria, all of them in New South Wales for the first one. So it was discussed what's going on. A lot of stuff is happening, a lot of good stuff. It's about to break through. But I think one of the really interesting things that you'll be liking is New South Wales distillers running their own New South Wales festival. So New South Wales distillers promoting and selling their own product at their own festival.
Yeah.
So like a Gin Palooza or something, but we've got the reins.
Right. Okay.
It's called Spirit Level.
That's such a cool name.
It is. Yeah, Christian came up with it, I think.
Yeah.
Christian Young.
That's an awesome name.
Christian Young is heading it up with Claudia from ACT, because New South Wales and ACT. There's some good stuff happening. Yeah. So anyway,
we'll stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Right. What's the name of that distillery? Carry on.
It'll pop into your head as soon as we go off air. No doubt.
Morris.
Oh yeah,
Morris.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
we were there. Well, when we dropped in to see them not the Distillery last year when we went to Whiskey on the Murray.
Whiskey on the Murray.
Tickets, get your Whiskey on the Murray tickets. That was fucking awesome last year.
Yeah, you going?
I am now with that recommendation.
Oh fuck yeah!
It was brilliant. I'll be international at the time, so I'll miss out. But it was absolutely cracking weekend.
Yeah.
The dinner was fantastic.
Yeah, the Distiller's dinner.
The Distiller's dinner was great.
Yeah.
The whole event was really, really good fun. We went down with a carload of blokes.
Sleepers.
Couple who didn't drive. That was fun.
And a couple that just decided to sleep a lot.
But it was absolutely fantastic event to go to. So if you haven't already, get your ticket. The Whiskey on the Murray.
Yeah.
Well worth it.
Yeah.
There is also another event coming up in June up here in
Dubbo
Winter Whiskey Festival. Now we actually had the guys on talking about that last week.
Was it last week?
It was.
It was
no,
last
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, Dubbo Winter Whiskey Festival.
Yeah. So there are a lot of festivals and whiskey things happening around the place. Do you have that down on the border there, or what's the Melbourne scene like for festivals like that?
Melbourne's huge. I mean, obviously we've got Ginapalooza and all those types of things. The big one that's just come down now, we were there at the first iteration of it in Canberra, is Botanica, which is like specialises in gin, and like probably one of the best ones we've been to for the vibe. Like, they just ran the first one in Canberra mid last year, and now they're expanding it out. They're advertising for it now, actually, in Melbourne, Sydney, and Canberra. Just a beautiful one where there was kind of 30 distillers. People were there to like really have a chat and really engage. There was a stage where there was some kind of educational stuff go on. There was some nosing stations with different botanicals. It was in the botanical gardens in Canberra.
Nice.
It's just a beautiful like vibe event, like just chill.
Yeah, looks
so
really
cool. I think I've found the website for it. I'll put it up on
have a look at that one. That one was really
those
good.
that are interested.
And you could sell directly at this at Botanical?
Yeah, absolutely. So what people tend to do is a little bit like Ginapalooza. They go around, they have a little taste of as many as they can stomach, and then they go back to the one that really resonated with them, and they pick that up. But the Botanical one like just stood out to me as a little bit different, just really kind of well run. You know, people weren't. We've been to a couple of these festivals now where it was a little bit crazy, where people were just looking for the samples, and it got a bit wild. I haven't had to use my RSA just yet to knock anyone back, but we were getting close. But the Botanica, beautiful one, like super good.
So, will you be at the Melbourne one? So that's in August. So 17th, 18th of August, from what I can see here.
Where's the Sydney one?
Sydney on sale soon. So no date yet. And then
it's spirits. So it's not just gin, it's all spirits.
Yeah.
Spirits
and Food Festival seems to be that they've expanded.
Well, check it out.
We shall. I'm going to put in my details. And
we'll do that. Check it out for sure. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So let's talk about your people that inspire you in Australia and like you mentioned Lee Atwood, the King of Rye. So tell us about Lee and what does Lee do and how do he help you?
Lee and Bree from Backwards were one of the first ones we toured when we started to think about getting into the game.
Lee and Bree.
Yeah,
really pulling me up on that. You're right. Bree as well.
Yeah.
Obviously.
100%. And really inspired us. In fact, it was the first time I listened to your podcast way back when you had them on. I was saying it was maybe episode 3 or something quite early.
It was very early, episode 9. Back in April 2021.
So hang on. So are you saying in some small way
we're directly responsible?
We're directly responsible for the creation of Nine Circles.
Nine Circles.
Round of applause. This is more Graham Norton today, not less Joe Rogan.
I don't have any conspiracy theories to share. Sorry, my aluminium foil's still on the roll in the cupboard. It's not in the shape of a tin hat. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So carry on. So,
I mean, that was a long time ago that we spoke.
yeah.
to Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah.
And I did actually drop in on them completely unannounced late last year. I was at a mate's wedding in Mitta, which is literally the middle of nowhere. And I thought, fuck it, I'm down there. I'm going to jump in my camper van and I'm going to drive to Yakandanda. And just dropped in completely unannounced. And they both happened to be there. And what I found quite nice was they both remembered me, first of all.
Yeah.
Didn't even have to introduce myself.
Yeah. I would expect that.
And I sure as shit didn't.
I know, yeah. Carry on.
What I found even more amazing is I took a photo of the mouth of the opening of their still. And I put a photo, very close crop photo.
Oh, the manway
of the still.
Yeah.
And I thought, no.
Manway,
whatever. And I put a comment on the Facebook there. Guess where I am, purely based on the still.
Yeah.
I thought no one's gonna fucking get this. No one at all. The first comment, oh, you're a backwards. Like I thought, yeah. I entirely, underestimated how many people would actually notice the indent ridges on the bottom of the opening of the still, where they'd been sort of denting and pouring stuff in there and pulling stuff out, and the wear around the edge. Yeah. That's what gave it away. People recognized that. It was astounding. That's what gave it away.
The little dent. Which one am I on next? Carlington Mill. Their last one.
Symmetry.
Banana notes and some pineapple notes.
Entropy.
It was very interesting.
Yeah,
and pastry.
If you haven't already, I mean, have a look at Horny Pony. I can't afford full fucking bottles of anything. But Horny Pony, I just pick up little sample bottles for sort of $15 to $25. I mean, look, I'm not entirely sure how the distilling community feels about having their bottles broken down into little samplers.
We did mine. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, but as a consumer, it's I think it's quite a good idea.
2 standard drinks.
Yep.
Yeah, in each, I think. Yeah.
Well, it depends on, that's a 52%.
1.8. Yeah. Roughly 2.
Roughly. Yeah.
2. Yeah.
So what's next for you? You've got your whiskies in barrel. They're sitting there. How far from being ready to enter the world are they?
You can't talk about that, Luke. I'm sorry. Like, they're ready when they're ready, right? They're ready when they're ready. Look, the first couple of barrels are legal now, over the 2-year mark. But like, we don't know. I mean, the maturation speeds up around summer, so I expect as we kind of move into the hotter months, we'll be at a position. We haven't yet decided on how we might finish, if indeed we do want to finish our single malt, which will be our first release.
Yeah.
So look, I would think probably closer to the end of the year, it's a possibility, but we're not going to rush it. We're certainly not going to put out something that we can't stand behind. We've never done that before, and I hope we never do. Yeah. Similar to the way that we've never produced a 500 ml bottle, and I hope we never do. We want to stick to the 700.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of later. The big thing for us right now, probably the next thing out will be our slow gin over the next couple of weeks. That's another one. Harking back to that conversation we had before about the juniper. Geez, if we could just get access to a steady, consistent flow of good quality, fresh, slow berries.
Yeah.
We're big fans of slow gin. So it'll be a one-off release and quite a unique one that we won't be able to replicate. That will be coming off out in the bottle in the next couple of weeks. So, we'll notify anyone on our mailing list first, give them first option. obviously people at our cellar door, people who show up, and people in the community will get first access to it, and then we'll see how we go from there. We've done a soft open kind of 2.5 weeks ago, where we didn't do a lot of promotion. Obviously, with a 3-person operation, we were really focused on logistics. Just deal with the council, tick all their boxes, deal with the plumbers and everything to get it open. So we didn't do a lot of promotion. So we're having a grand opening event next Saturday. So the 24th will be our big grand opening, ribbon cutting, door prizes, sales, food trucks, special guests, those types of things, live music.
Nice.
The big events, get out there.
Nice, very nice.
That's huge for us. So we'll get that out of the way. Pick ourselves up at the end of it, and then really get on with delivering events for our local community.
Yep.
Like I said before, things like like master classes, things that like make people want to get out of their house and come out, brave the cold, and get out and come down to your venue and share in the spirit and have a good time. So that'll be the next one for us.
Lovely.
How about just me shooting shit? 9 circles. So in your area, 9 different things like a brewery, a winery, the circles of activity in the 9. That'd be cool. The 9 Circles Festival.
Yeah. What, get people like a little bit like a coffee card where people kind of tick them off?
No, just like I don't know. Now I am going to. No, it's sort of like the concept. I love something about your 9 circles. I love the concept of the 9 circles. So if you had the brewery circle, you had the winery circle, you had the gourmet food circle, you have the distillery circle, and have some sort of weekend festival where people go around the different travels to the different circles.
So just deliver an event based on like collaborations.
Yeah.
I love that. We really haven't leaned into the 9 circles element as much as we would like to yet. So
there's something very holistic, something very holistic,
something very circular.
Something very circular. Yeah. It's a circular economy. Yeah.
So did I say the 24th for the grand opening? I meant the 25th, Saturday the 25th. Yeah, next Saturday.
Yeah. 25th, right? I'll work that out. So 25th for the grand opening. Then you're going to be at Botanica in Melbourne in August.
That looks really cool.
It does look very, very cool.
Yeah,
Anything else in between then? Are you planning to try and attend as many of those different gin festivals as you can, or are there main standout ones that you're going to focus on?
Not.
Oh
no, we've lost him.
We got a technical glitch. What happened there?
The NBN's failed us.
What, our end?
I don't.
I think it's one.
All right, he's back.
Oh, hold on.
I'm
He's
here.
glitching. There he is.
I'm not
What the
alone.
hell's that?
Oh shit! Yeah.
It was like an alien all of a sudden.
You glitched out, and then a creature just
You're
arose.
like,
Oh, it's a cat. There you go. Now we can see
go on, son.
It's all
a cat in a coat.
it's all pixelated, and you stalled
right.
and you stalled again.
Yeah.
But then we just saw this alien. What the hell? Now
Sorry,
we go Joe
events.
Rogan.
Yeah, there's your conspiracy theory.
I bet you didn't expect that, did you?
No. So I think
events.
we missed the festivals. Whether
that's
you're
right.
attending more and more.
Yep. So we'll be at anyone kind of proximate to us. So we just did the Narooma Oyster Festival a couple of weeks ago. Well, I mean, the distillery is based far south coast near the border of New South Wales and Victoria. Anything within range of us. So Canberra, anything up in Canberra, you'll see us at. We're up in, we do the handmade market, which is quarterly. Unfortunately, we're on the wait list for the next one in July, but we'll be at the one after that, and obviously the big Christmas one. Anything that's around the area, you'll see us at, and we're going to start moving more and more into Sydney and Melbourne. We're kind of mindful though that like we need to kind of build awareness before we go into these markets. So it'll take a little bit of time to introduce the brand first, and then you'll see us show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
Definitely
You come back to 9 circles, right? You got your local neighborhood, your local region, then your greater region, and then it goes out from there.
I love that you're vibing on the brand. It's good. It's a good thing. Probably the next big one is the Winter Sun Festival that's had some big names playing out over the last couple of years. I want to say they're not putting it on this year. They're going to run it biannually, but that's one we've been involved with a lot. That's a really good festival.
At Merimbula.
Yeah, well, it's in Pambula. It's in our home little town.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There you go.
We're looking at it now. That's
looking at Winter Sun Fest.
No, that is. Sorry, I mixed up my festivals. There's so many of them. You're right. That one is in the main street in Merimbula.
Yeah,
they shut off the streets
cool.
around the time it's the jazz festival.
Mm.
Oh man, there's a lot going on. Jeez.
Yeah,
there is.
It's not a sleepy little town. Let me tell you.
No. I mean, you certainly are going for the tourist, get them in, keep them in. There's the Winter Sun Fest that I'm putting up into the comments and on the screen for those playing at home. Cool, very cool. Well, look, we're starting to glitch out, so I always see that as a sign that we've gone loud. Yeah, I always take that as a sign. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to recommend that people jump onto 9circles.com.au and join the mailing list so that you can get alerted to the slow gin that's coming out, and then hopefully towards the end of the year, if it's ready, something around the whiskey space. And I'm assuming notifications about the festivals and the different places that you'll be at throughout. So jump onto 9circles.com.au. And also, obviously, we know that you'll be at the Britannica Festival as well. So jump in there and go and say hello, taste the range, and then buy a few bottles, one of each. I think that should suffice. Oh, there it goes again.
It looks the same even when you're not glitching. That's scary.
Say goodbye. Oh, it's cold down in Melbourne.
Yeah. Well, it's either cold or it's hot or it's wet or it's windy or it's all of the above.
All in one day.
Yeah.
I grew up in Colac, so I know how it works.
Yeah.
I know how
it's particularly cold down there.
It can be, or particularly hot. Either way, yeah, it's a little bit of both. Definitely coming up. Obviously, there's the Whiskey on the Murray Festival. Get your tickets to that. That's an awesome event.
Woohoo! And we'll be there.
Loved it. I won't. I'll be overseas.
Yep, I will be.
Then there is the Dubbo Winter Whiskey Festival.
Woohoo! I'll be there.
Go and say hi.
Yep.
To Crafty and Todd. They'll be there. I won't. I'll be overseas.
Todd, talking about you, mate.
And
you don't want to come on?
That looks to be a really, really cool event. Hopefully, I get to go next year. And also jump in while you're there. Head to the Establishment Bar in Dubbo as well.
Super cool bar.
Yeah, while you're there, they organise the whole damn thing. So drop in and see the bar as well. As I said, jump on the 9circles.com.au and sign up to the mailing list. Yeah. Stay tuned while we roll the credits for our awesome sponsors, who we are actually, we should say.
Next week? 2 weeks?
2 weeks' time, we have Sally.
The fabulous Sally from Saverglass.
For the Big 80, episode 80.
And it will be fabulous.
Which will be, awesome. And then 2 weeks after that...
getting organised.
I know. We're
professional.
But then you're going away.
I'm away for fucking 2 of them.
Oh Jesus, it's going to fall apart.
Oh, actually, we're going to have a problem with this one. But so
23rd Street.
June 13, we've got 23rd Street.
Awesome.
From down in Renmark, South Australia, talking about their new RTDs.
Sounds good to me.
Which is very cool.
I've actually got a can of that in the fridge, or 2 or 3.
Yes, they're here, and I won't be here to drink them.
Oh, I'll grab them.
And then we're also lining up for July now as well. So we've got a lot happening over the course of the next few months.
Yeah,
it's busy, and yeah, thank you all for joining us. Thank you very much, Jace, for taking the time.
No props.
Thanks for having you with us. And
don't go away. Don't go away while we.
We'll roll the credits, and then we will catch you all in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks, Beats. My regards to Todd.
Not up there.
Cheers,
down here.
Todd.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you.